Okay, let's talk about the woman who literally broke the supermodel mold. She was called the most beautiful woman in the world. But here's the plot twist. That wasn't even her superpower. While Naomi was serving drama and Linda was shape-shifting into every character imaginable, Christy Turlington was quietly playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. And honestly, the fashion world is still trying to catch up. Because here's what nobody tells you about Christy. She didn't just become a supermodel. She became the blueprint for what happens when you combine otherworldly beauty with actual brains and refuse to play by anyone else's rules. This is the story of fashion's ultimate quiet rebel, and trust me, it's wilder than you think. Picture this. Long Island, 1987. Most 18-year-olds are stressed about prom themes and college applications. Christy Turlington? She's about to accidentally revolutionize an entire industry. But here's the kicker. She almost never became a model at all. Seriously, it came very close to never happening. Her mom, Maria, fled El Salvador during political chaos, bringing nothing but dreams and that immigrant hustle that would later become Christy's secret weapon. Education first, everything else second. That was the family motto, and it was non-negotiable. Then comes the most random discovery story in fashion history. 14-year-old Christy is just horseback riding in Miami. No makeup, no posed shots, just a girl and her horse. A photographer spots her and boom, fashion history begins. But here's where Christy's story gets interesting. She said no, not to modeling entirely, but to the whole drop everything and chase fame playbook. While other girls were packing their bags for New York, Christy decided it was cool for others, but she would be finishing high school first. A decision that would prove very wise later in this story. Revolutionary? Absolutely. Strategic genius? You have no idea. By 1987, when Christy finally committed to modeling full-time, she brought something to the industry that was practically alien: boundaries. Not the diva kind of boundaries. We're talking philosophical boundaries. She treated modeling like a craft, studied fashion photography history, and approached every shoot like she was collaborating with Scorsese. The fashion world was shook. Here was this stunning woman who actually read books and had opinions about art direction. Wild concept, right? But here's what made her approach revolutionary. She understood that modeling wasn't about being a beautiful mannequin. It was about being a storyteller, a collaborator, an artist in her own right. This wasn't just professionalism. This was a complete reimagining of what a model could be. Milan, Gianni Versace's studio. This is where Christy didn't just become a supermodel. She became the template for every supermodel who came after. Picture this scene. Versace pulls Christy aside during a fitting, not to fix her dress or give her direction, to ask her opinion on the creative concept. In an industry where models were expected to be beautiful, silent, and compliant, Versace was treating Christy as a creative partner. Her response? She didn't just give feedback, she completely reimagined the entire campaign. That campaign didn't just sell clothes. It announced that Christy Turlington was the thinking woman's supermodel. Fashion insiders still talk about this moment. It was like watching someone rewrite the rules in real time. 1990. Enter the Trinity: Christy, Naomi, and Linda. But while everyone was obsessing over their friendship, the real tea was how Christy became the group's secret weapon. Here's the dynamic nobody talks about. Naomi brought the fierce energy, Linda brought the chameleon magic, but Christy? She brought something more subtle and infinitely more powerful: gravitas. She was the one who could walk into a room full of fashion's biggest egos and command respect without raising her voice or throwing a tantrum. Pure presence, zero drama. While the other two were making headlines, Christy was making history. She became the model that other models aspired to be, not because of her beauty alone, but because of how she carried herself. 1988 to 1998. 10 years. One model. One brand. Calvin Klein didn't just sign Christy for a decade, he made a cultural statement. Those Eternity campaigns weren't just fragrance ads, they were manifestos. Christy wasn't just selling perfume, she was embodying every intelligent woman's aspirations. And can we talk about how she managed to be the face of American fashion while studying philosophy at New York University? The multitasking skills were unmatched. Calvin Klein later revealed he chose Christy because she represented something happening in American culture. The rise of the intelligent, independent woman who refused to choose between beauty and brains. Between 1987 and 2007, Christy appeared on more than 500 magazine covers, but numbers don't tell the real story of her Vogue domination. Here's what set her apart from every other cover model. While other supermodels were known for specific looks or attitudes, Christy became known for her versatility without losing her essence. She could be elegant for European Vogue, accessible for American Vogue, and edgy for Italian Vogue, all while remaining unmistakably herself. This wasn't just professional skill. This was artistic mastery that photographers and editors still study today. Early 90s runway shows weren't just fashion presentations, they were cultural events. And Christy wasn't just walking in them, she was redefining what runway modeling could be. Versace Fall/Winter, 1991. Milan Fashion Week. The show that made supermodels bigger than the clothes they wore. But here's what everyone missed. While other models were performing, Christy was presenting. She understood something revolutionary. The runway wasn't a stage for showing off. It was a platform for storytelling. Every step was calculated to serve the designer's vision while maintaining her artistic integrity. She treated each runway walk like a short film where she was both actress and director. So here's where Christy's story takes a turn that'll surprise you. The woman who represented health and vitality was secretly fighting a battle that would reshape her entire life mission. Her father's lung cancer diagnosis was just the beginning. The real shock? Christy was diagnosed with early-stage emphysema from smoking, a habit that seemed glamorous in the fashion world, but nearly cost her everything. But here's what made this crisis reveal her true character. Instead of hiding it, she transformed it into advocacy. She began working with the American Cancer Society, sharing her story to help others quit smoking. This wasn't celebrity endorsement. This was personal testimony born from real experience and loss. While everyone saw Christy as the perfect model, she was quietly building something else entirely, a business empire that reflected her values and intelligence. 1999. Christy co-founded Sundari, bringing ancient Ayurvedic practices to Western skincare. This wasn't just another celebrity beauty brand. It was a reflection of her deep dive into holistic wellness that had been growing since her college years. Then came the Puma collaboration, creating athletic wear that reflected her active lifestyle. These weren't just business ventures. They were statements about who she was beyond the runway. Her business ventures revealed something crucial. She wasn't content to just be the face of other people's visions. She was determined to create her own. While the 90s fashion world was exploding with drama and tabloid headlines, Christy remained mysteriously untouchable. But this wasn't luck. It was strategy. Here's her secret. She decided early on that her personal life would never be more interesting than her professional work. While other supermodels were dating rock stars, Christy was in college classrooms discussing philosophy. Yes, you heard that right. At the height of her modeling career, when she could have been partying every night, Christy Turlington was studying Kant and Nietzsche. The audacity, the intelligence, the sheer brilliance of choosing substance over celebrity gossip. Her relationship with actor Edward Burns wasn't just a romance. It was a masterclass in handling celebrity relationships with dignity. Their relationship wasn't a smooth fairy tale. They met, fell in love, broke up, and found their way back to each other. The complexity showed that even Christy Turlington had to navigate the same challenges as everyone else. The difference? She did it with grace, without drama, and without turning her personal life into a public spectacle. When they married in 2003, it was Bono from U2 who walked her down the aisle, highlighting the deep friendships she'd cultivated based on shared values rather than just industry connections. 2003 brought marriage, motherhood, and a near-death experience that would reshape Christy's life mission forever. During her daughter Grace's birth, Christy experienced life-threatening complications due to postpartum hemorrhage. Lying in that hospital bed, she had a revelation. If this could happen to her, with access to the best medical care, what was happening to mothers in developing countries? That question became an obsession. But Christy didn't just start writing checks. She went back to school, earning a master's in public health from Columbia. This wasn't celebrity activism. This was professional expertise backed by genuine commitment. 2010, Christy did something unprecedented for a supermodel. She became a documentary filmmaker. But No Woman, No Cry wasn't just her first film. It was her declaration that she was now using her platform to save lives. She didn't just visit countries, she lived with families, attended births, and witnessed both triumphs and tragedies. She picked up a camera and traveled to Tanzania, Bangladesh, Guatemala, and the United States to document maternal mortality firsthand. Her second documentary, Every Mile, Every Mother, followed her running marathons worldwide to raise awareness. These films weren't about Christy Turlington, they were about the mothers she was fighting to save. Every Mother Counts became the beginning of Christy's real-world impact. She began collaborating with organizations like CARE and Product Red, traveling to countries including Swaziland, El Salvador, Peru, and Ethiopia. But here's what set her apart from other celebrity activists. She didn't just make appearances, she made commitments. She learned languages, studied local customs, and built relationships with healthcare workers. In Ethiopia, she worked directly with midwives. In Peru, she trekked to remote villages to understand healthcare challenges firsthand. This wasn't photo op activism. It was field work that required her to be away from her family for weeks, working in challenging conditions with no cameras rolling. She began addressing systemic issues, speaking out about reproductive rights and pushing for policy changes that would save lives globally. Her work has contributed to significant policy changes, including increased funding for maternal health programs and improved access to emergency obstetric care in developing countries. While other supermodels struggled with aging in an industry obsessed with youth, Christy seemed to exist outside of time itself. Her secret? She never tried to be younger than she was. Instead, she embraced each phase with the same grace and intelligence that had defined her from the beginning. The proof? In 2025, at 56, Christy walked the runway for Versace and continues modeling for Calvin Klein, more than 35 years after their partnership began. That's not just longevity, that's legacy. Today, when fashion insiders want to describe the perfect model, they don't use adjectives. They use a name, Christy Turlington. Walk into any modeling agency, and you'll see her influence everywhere. The emphasis on education, the importance of boundaries, the integration of advocacy with career, these are all part of the Christy Turlington blueprint. Gisele Bündchen has cited Christy as her primary inspiration for balancing modeling with environmental activism. Karlie Kloss credits Christy with showing her that models could pursue education and entrepreneurship simultaneously. Ashley Graham has called her the blueprint for using your platform responsibly. Anna Wintour calls her the model's model. Stephen Meisel once said, Christy didn't just pose for the camera, she communicated with it. Every image told a story, and she was always the author of that story. Mario Testino revealed, she could convey more emotion in one look than most actresses could in an entire scene. She understood that modeling wasn't about being perfect, it was about being real. After more than 3 decades in the spotlight, she remains genuinely mysterious, not in a calculated way, but in the way that truly fascinating people always are. So what made Christy Turlington truly iconic? It wasn't just her face, though those cheekbones could stop traffic from 3 blocks away. It wasn't just her professionalism, though it set new industry standards. What made Christy Turlington iconic was her understanding of something most people in fashion never grasp. True power comes not from what you reveal, but from what you choose to keep sacred. She gave the world her image, talent, and advocacy, but she kept her soul. She shared her beauty, intelligence, and platform, but she protected her essence. In an industry built on exposure, Christy became legendary through restraint. In a world obsessed with drama, she built her empire on dignity. In a business that discards yesterday's faces for tomorrow's trends, she created something timeless. Today, more than 35 years after that first photograph at a Miami stable, Christy Turlington remains what she's always been. Not just a supermodel, but a superwoman who happened to model. From the young woman who almost died in childbirth to the global health advocate who has saved countless lives, from the business entrepreneur who built successful companies to the documentary filmmaker who changed hearts and minds, her story is one of constant evolution without ever losing sight of her core values. The next time you see a model who seems to have it all, beauty, brains, and boundaries, remember that they're following a blueprint written by a girl from Long Island who understood that the most revolutionary thing you can do in fashion is to never lose yourself in it. And honestly, that's a masterclass we could all learn from. What do you think about Christy's approach to balancing fame with authenticity? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective on what makes someone truly iconic in today's world. Don't end your journey into the fascinating world of fashion here. If Christy Turlington was the ultimate quiet rebel, you won't want to miss our video on Naomi Campbell's wild reign on top of the fashion world. A completely different story of power, drama, and unapologetic fierceness that'll blow your mind. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video to help us bring you more content like this. See you in the following video.